think first thing, big picture, when you're trying to recruit the area, and you can say you play in Kansas in your first year in the Sprint Center. There's not a difference playing Kansas. Like they're going to be great whether you play them in Alaska, Antarctica, Lawrence, or the Sprint. But if you're our program, if you're the Kansas City Roos and you're recruiting, and you can say, look, we played the Jayhawks in the Sprint Center. That's a big deal, and we're going to try to play a game like that every year in the Sprint Center, whether it's KU, K-State, Missouri, St. Louis. It's really a big goal with Dr. Martin in mind to do that. So from a recruiting standpoint, it's huge. And then also, the opportunity for our kids that are actually that are playing now to play that game in the city is pretty special. And if you can play well and you can contend, then it makes it better. If not, it's just another game. It's just another game, and you got to remember that you don't get 5 losses for this game if the score's not right, and you don't get 5 wins if you pull off an upset. It goes one on each side of the column, and you do got to kind of keep that in mind too when you play it.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier about kind of keeping kids down to earth, and I know that sometimes kids think they're a little better than they are. Sometimes maybe this is one of those matchups to where a guy can see, well, maybe I shouldn't be playing at that level, or I can't play with this guy, or I can't run with this guy. You don't want to say that, but sometimes it kind of wakes those kids up.
Well, I think what you definitely are going to see, and I talked to our guys after the Oklahoma State and the Iowa State game, it's just like my last year at Northwestern, the Celtics came to our place and practiced. They were going to play the Bulls. They played the Bucks. They had an off day, and then they were playing Chicago. So on their off day, they came to Northwestern and they practiced. And our guys, Brad Stevens was kind enough to let our guys watch practice. And right away, the big difference is the bodies, just the physical bodies of the guys. Mm-hmm. And so we're coaching Big Ten players at Northwestern, and they have dreams and goals, which is more important than dreams of playing in the NBA. And it's like, look, take how well you shoot the ball out of it, take how well you dribble the ball, forget your pick and roll game, just look at their bodies. And if you want to be a pro, you got to get your body here. So, regardless of whatever the outcome is with our guys, especially our young players, you want to be a really good player, you want to play at another level, you want to be a great, because great mid-major players can play anywhere in the country. The best mid-major players can play anywhere. Mm-hmm. You saw that last year with Texas Tech with Matt Mooney. How important was Matt Mooney, the Texas Tech run, who was the grad transfer from South Dakota?
Yeah.
And you see that all over the place. Our guys, what they're going to see Saturday, besides incredible execution, great coaching, great scheme, and skill level, they're the bodies, the physical bodies of the KU players that you're going to say to our guys, we got to eat better, we got to eat more, we got to lift harder, if that's the level you want to get to. And I'm not just talking about the guys that it's more genetic than it is. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about everybody else. I've seen what Moss has done with his body, because when he was at Iowa and now he's at KU when I was in the Big Ten. Dotson, what he's done with his body. You have to have that same mentality.
Coach, I've always said, I grew up, played ball. Well, I played ball until Kevin Pritchard moved into my high school, but he woke me up real quick. I was a good point guard, 10 steps quicker mentally and physically. Is that true from, your level of D1 to KU? As well as the bigness.
Yeah, the physicality and the speed of the game at their level is a lot. It's better, and some of it is that their athleticism can overcome a lot, and then what happens is when they're being really well coached like they are now, they have the combination of athleticism and the mind for the game. So. Those are things that you have to deal with when you play. This is one of the 5 best programs in all of college basketball. So over the last 30, 40, 50, however many years, I don't want to get 100 years, whatever it's been, there's been about 4 other programs that are on par, with them traditionally. It's not like playing a regular team from the Big Ten, the Big 12. This is the elite of the elite. The best of the best, and that's great for our guys to see in everything they do, how Coach Self runs the program, their schemes, how they play, and then obviously the talent level of their players.
Yeah, that kind of brings us to they've played, the Roos have played KU 4 times, all at Allen Fieldhouse, never got the upset there. But does your preparation change a little bit for playing what we call a true blue blood like you just brought up, one of those traditionally really good teams that is going to be in the conversation every year?
Yeah, it's another great question. I think what you have to be careful when you prepare for any game is, the guys know it's Kansas. And I think you have to stop from making statements like, we got to play a perfect game, or we have to do this exactly if we're going to have any chance. Like to use words if we're going to have any chance. I think you have to have the same type of attitude to a degree that you've had for every other opponent. I think it's unspoken, the respect that our guys are going to have for KU, how good they are, the problems they present, and then just in terms of our game plan, you just got to hope that it's one that can work. It's one that our guys can execute. Because the one thing you can't do, I think, Belichick has said this the best. Your job in every game, no matter who you're playing, is you got to come up with a plan that's easy enough for your players to be able to execute and complicated enough for your opponent to struggle with. And in all sports, that's always the delicate balance. I think he's put it best, not to quote Belichick, but I think he's said that the best, and I think that's really true, especially in basketball. I think baseball's a little different, but especially in those two sports, and that's what you're trying to accomplish, no matter who you're playing.
I think we're okay with the Belichick quotes, even though some stuff's going on.
Yeah,
but we're okay with the Belichick quote. He has another one, do your job, all that stuff. Quoting him, that's A-OK. He's still the greatest coach.
Yeah, I know do your job is something, I'm a defensive guy, and that's something I preach constantly, on defense is just, hey, we got to do our job. I coach the D-line, so I'm like, hey, our job is to fill these gaps. We fill our gaps, good things will happen. Guys can run and make plays, but we got to do our job first. We can't start doing somebody else's. And I know it's similar in basketball. Whatever your role is.
You got to, if your role is to set a lot of screens, be an all-star at setting screens. Be an all-star doing your job. No, that's like the biggest part about being on a team. Don't get caught up and maybe you don't like your role and so you have a bad attitude about what your job is, then the team can't be successful. That's 100% right.
Yeah, one of our seniors, this year, Nate Jones, I can't talk enough about him. Maybe any other college coaches who are looking for a guy, he's going to be a senior in this 20 class, but he's an offensive and defensive lineman, and he had played linebacker really his whole career, and then as a junior moved him to D-line, never complained. This year we had him play both ways, O-line and D-line, and never complained. It was just a great team guy, and I'm sure you've got guys like that on your team as well that you're like, hey, this is what we need to be successful.
Well, and that's where in recruiting it's a fine line, because sometimes taking a guy that for whatever reason doesn't maybe pass the eye test or the stats test, but he does all these things that are so important to having a winning program, and you've got to have a few of those guys on your team because they help you win championships.
Have you guys done a walkthrough at the Sprint Center? Have you personally been in the Sprint Center yet?
I've been. I played a game in there.
Did you?
At Michigan when we played Oregon, and then I was there when I was hired at KC. The round of the Sweet 16 was going on here, and I think Carolina played. I forget, Carolina played somebody, and I went to the game, and Auburn maybe. Did they play Auburn? I think obviously Auburn won.
Yeah.
I was at that one, but it's an incredible atmosphere. And then this, we've had one. My wife and I have had one date night since we got here, and that's not she's not complaining. But we went to Celine Dion, which was at the Sprint Center.
Okay.
So I've been there for a concert. It was a great experience. But we will practice there tomorrow night. So we have a practice there tomorrow night.
You bringing the measuring tape like in the Hoosiers?
No, we're not doing that. we're not going to do that.
I was going to say Celine Dion. That's major. That's major points. He got major points for taking. Hey, maybe you're a big Celine Dion.
I'm going to plead the fifth because she might watch this.
Major points. Yeah. Major points for this guy.
Hey, we all got to score points with the wives.
Right? Hey, I took my wife to a long time ago when we were younger. I took her to see not Jessica Simpson, is it little Ashley Simpson?
Oh, you saw Ashley Simpson with
that was points for that because that's terrible. I say that it was a long time ago, but points for
He's
this.
Still living off those points from forever ago.
That was back a million points. I got like 100 left on that one.
So. You mentioned one thing we always talk about is, Kansas City barbecue with everybody we have on. You mentioned it earlier. Said you don't have a favorite, but
yeah, it's hard.
You're on the hot seat here.
Come on,
you got to throw out one.
I said you can always. Some of the guys do like a combo where they're like, man, when I go to X, I always get this.
You guys are running the show, but you tell me your favorites. You know, you guys can
go ahead. You won't know. You won't know his.
Yeah, Woodyard is my favorite.
Where is that?
I've
I've
not
heard it yet.
It's off of. Oh man,
his favorite. Where is it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
My wife and I, we got married almost 2 years ago, and it was actually, we had them cater our wedding. We liked it so much.
Really?
Yeah. It was. I mean, it's been.
But it's
on
called
all the
Woodyard.
shows.
I can look it up.
Yeah, Woodyard Barbecue.
What's your favorite part about Woodyard? What's their?
For me, I like to get the 2-meat plate, get a little brisket and ham.
Yep.
And then I love their beans, and they have these little cornbread muffins that
are really good.
Yeah, just fantastic.
Okay, you've given me another one. Good.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna Google that while he's
I had friends come in town from Arkansas. They lived there for a few years while he was going to school to be a chiropractor, and so every time they come in town, they said, let's go get some barbecue. So we did Jack Stack on the plaza. We started off with onion rings. Got the 9 onion rings. Get the spicy sauce and the regular sauce. Whatever. Choose which one you like. And then I went with fried mushrooms with the horseradish sauce, which is really, really good. The fried mushrooms are better than the onion rings for sure. We also did a side of, then we got, me and my wife actually just split. We split a pork rust, which is just the that's like broken up like burn-in type thing, and sauces on the side with that. You get a side of fries, a side of beans. She gets the cheesy potatoes, which are really good. I couldn't eat it all, but it was like a little buffet, mini buffet we had going on. But for me, Jack Stack, the sides are really, really. Beans are awesome. Have you ate Jack Stack?
Oh yeah, love Jack
Stack.
Stack.
Right by. Yeah, it's right.
Yeah,
you're right there.
Oh yeah.
So hang by. Yeah, and they got the lunch sizes too, which is awesome because if you do that dinner size, it's time to go night when you get done eating.
When you get back to work, if you do it at lunch, yeah.
I'm going to show my age. I'm old school. Gates and Bryant's, burn-ins, originator of the burn-ins.
Bryant's is the originator of the burn-ins, or Gates?
I don't know which one, but they're both right in that era. And just whenever I go to barbecue, it's got to be clean, but the more rustic, the better the food.
Yeah, you're talking about old school Arthur Bryant's right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like Drew Gooden. He's already sold out at the 3-on-3 or the big three. Somebody asked him about barbecue, and he's like, Gates let me down. It's Q39 now, and
a little bougie.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be like Drew. I'm going to stick with my roots there and go original. And we'll give you a pass on. You haven't been here long enough to figure out.
I've been to great place. I mean, we go to Gates a lot with our team,
right.
And I love Gates. I mean, I love just from a portion size. I mean, the food's great, but the portion size at Gates is out of control.
Oh,
how much it is, how much they give you, and I love Gates. I love Jack Stacks, and this will get me in trouble, I think, because it's on the other side. But I also love Joe's.
No, Joe's is great.
I don't know about because it's in the Kansas side, but Joe's is in the gas station. Joe's.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of their barbecue, but it's like Gates doesn't have gumbo. Joe's has gumbo. And I'm a gumbo guy, and I don't think Jack Stacks has gumbo.
I'd have to check on
that.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
I don't remember seeing it,
but I don't think it has gumbo. So man, the day of a home game, we won't do it Saturday, but the day of a home game, I take my wife to Joe's. The day of a home game, we go.
Good call.
That's what we do. But I love the gumbo. So you asked me what do I like? I really like the gumbo. At Jack Stacks, I get the 2-platter combo, and usually it's always the brisket, and that's just a question of what it's going to be besides the brisket.
Yeah, and you can pick anything else. It don't even matter. Go with the brisket and then just go. A lot of times I'll ask just my server. I'll be like, "What's your favorite? What are you eating on break today?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm eating this, and that." I'm like, "Let me just get that," because I already know. Because she's the one, or he or she is the one that's back in the kitchen. They know what everything is.
What's good?
What's looking good right now? And I'm like, dude, just give me that. So, but that's cool. Yeah, that's a great question. This the barbecue conversation in Kansas City. You could do like a whole 2-hour show on it.
Yeah, I mean, we always tell people there's no wrong answer there. I mean, everything is. All the barbecue joints are so good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no bad place.
I mean, and
it's honestly like being in Chicago and telling somebody to go for pizza.
Yeah,
there's about 9 or 10 places you can't go wrong with Chicago style pizza if you're into Chicago style pizza.
You know what amazes me more than anything? We were in Chicago back. I don't know. It was around probably 10 years after Harry Carey's came around. You would ask people where Harry Carey's is that live there. They had no clue. Oh, it's out by the stadium. Oh, it's out by the airport. No, it's downtown.
Right downtown.
Oh, you know what? I did have a suggestion on barbecue, and it's what to avoid. If you see like any barbecue here that's like a chain, like just don't even go.
Don't go to the chain.
No, don't go to the chain.